My boyfriend, 27 meters, keeps calling me 25F, a Karen. So the title says it all. Whenever we are arguing he will say, "You're being a real Karen, you know." I honestly can't even believe I'm writing this post because I can agree it might sound like a troll post, but it's true and it really bothers me. Yes, I am a white woman, but I'm also young and a very liberal and generally accepting person. I'm anti-racist. I say please and thank you to my servers and tip well. I don't yell at cashiers. But we were getting heated over COVID, and because I think we should all wear masks he literally called me a Karen. What the heck? The thing that frustrates me the most is that the generalized meme of Karens when it comes to wearing masks is that they don't wear masks, they will purposely not wear one and be bitchy to employees about it, so really what the heck? Personal insults during an argument are red flags. Also, I think he's lashing out because he's the one being unreasonable if he's criticizing you for wearing a mask during a pandemic. First off, a Karen would get pissed for wearing a mask. Second, he's really watering down the term, and if people like him keep doing that, it's really gonna lose its meaning, if it hasn't already. The important thing here is that he calls you an ugly name when you argue instead of trying to resolve an issue. This indicates a lack of respect for you, and though mild is verbal abuse. A tiny red flag, but still a red flag. Might be time to insist on rules about arguing fairly without personal attacks. Greater than I think we should all wear masks. He literally called me a Karen. I suggest you find someone that is scientifically literate and more intelligent. People like this will put your children, should you want them, and loved ones at risk. Karen has been watered down to become a new misogynistic insult. He's just calling you a mild version of a bitch. I think in this case, Karen is a sexist insult. The original Karen meme was about entitled older white women treating service employees badly. Clearly this is far from you. Karen is now an anti-masker. This is also clearly not you. The only descriptor of these that relate to you is white woman. I am ignoring the race part, because I am presuming he is also white. So what we are left with is that he is criticizing you for being a woman. Karen is sometimes used just as a shorthand for some sexist stereotypes about women, such as, women are always nagging, and this seems to fit the situation. So I think you should understand this behavior as him using some backdoor sexism when you argue. That word is stating to be used in a misogynistic way on Reddit more and more. Secretly sexist Chris. The best kind of boyfriend. Address the issue of arguing unproductively. Calling names in a conflict purpose is to injure, not to solve the conflict. I'm confused. You say this isn't a troll post. 4 days ago you made a post about how much you want your deployed husband to return. Now your boyfriend is calling you a Karen. Sounds like one way or the other you are the problem here. You're totally right. Also, this incident is a prime example of how sexist and misogynistic the term, Karen, has ended up being and lost its original meaning. It's now commonly used to insult women who dare to speak up in general. As such, I refuse to use it from now on and will call out people who do this, too. Did you ask to speak to his manager? Your boyfriend is anti-mask. He sounds like a Karen. He's calling you a bitch. He's disrespecting you and trying to make you feel small and stupid so that you'll shut up and defer to him and his dick. Don't date people who say mean things to you. This is gaslighting. He's calling you names to try and invalidate your argument rather than deal with the issue at hand. It is a manipulative tactic to essentially redirect the conflict to another issue, the name calling. He's also trying to make you feel ridiculous for complaining. Your argument is valid. Him trying to beat you down and most direct the conversation is a bad sign for who he is as a person. Frankly, the fact that he's arguing about the masks is also a bad sign for who he is as a person too. He's essentially arguing that he shouldn't have to care about the health of his community and then, by name calling you, doubles down on that by also not caring about your feelings. Laughing my ass off. Your boyfriend is a moron who doesn't know what a Karen is. Also, he's a fucking idiot whose idiocy will put people at risk. He's being an idiot. He's literally calling you a Karen for no reason except to insult you and hurt you. You can try to talk to him about how his responses in an argument are extremely immature and irrelevant to the conversation. If he has nothing intelligent to add to the argument, then he needs to keep his mouth shut. If he continues, he can kiss your ass goodbye. I think your boyfriend is being the male version of a Karen, here, name to yet be discovered. You are doing the right thing by wearing a mask. I'd let him know that these names are insulting and something you don't want to remember. If you are in an argument, it's best not to say these names. Once things are resolved, the names always stick in your brain. Something I have told my own boyfriend, and he feels so bad and doesn't do this anymore. Hopefully he comes around to realizing you are in the right for wearing a mask during a global pandemic. I really dislike the Karen thing. The world does not need new and socially acceptable ways to insult women. Your boyfriend is being rude and arguing very unfairly. It puts you on the defensive. If you argue more or defend yourself, you're a Karen. It's disrespectful. Just ignore his attacks and stick to the issue at hand. Maybe talk about how disrespectful he's being and that it makes you unable to trust him later in a different conversation. Tell your boyfriend, emphasis on boy, this. When POC make fun of Karens, it's a critique of how white women specifically weaponize their privilege. When white women make fun of Karens, it's self-critique, depreciation. When white men make fun of Karens, they're just excited they have found a way to mask their tired misogyny with a woke veneer. You know, I keep hearing feminists bitch about that term becoming a sexist slur, and seeing shit like this makes me feel that maybe they are right. Like basically anytime a woman dares to have an opinion or make a demand or do anything that isn't submissive, she's now a Karen and should feel awful. Either tell him to cut the disrespect or to fuck off out of your life. Anti-maskers are losers anyways. Guy sounds like a sexist moron. It's possible he thinks Karen means any white woman who disagrees with me. He's trying to belittle you and invalidate what you're saying by making you seem entitled and crazy. He sounds like a real asshole. Not all Karens are women, but all Karens project. He's not going to change. You can't fix him. Walk away. Karen is fast becoming a slur against white women. Also imagine the horror of women who are actually named Karen. It got popularized by social media influencers, losers from Mom's Basement who run Insta accounts like The Tactical Karen. I hope these idiots get sued by at least one rich Karen, first name, and it will stop. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. I'm starting to agree with those. Karen is a sexist, misogynistic name things that Karens post because of these situations. What an idiot. It sounds like you're literally the opposite of a Karen, lol. I think it's time to dump your Chad, though. That's not a good thing. This is the problem with Karen. You didn't mention your BF's ethnicity, but it definitely hasn't escaped my notice that white neckbeards jumped on Karen like chickens on a Junebug. I've had the dreaded epithet snarled at me a few times, and the subject has never had anything to do with the original intention of the slur. There are a lot more sexist white guys using the term than anyone else. Look, anytime people close to you start insulting you instead of communicating with you in a civil manner, you don't have to go on a whole soul-searching expedition. They're out of line. If you have a problem with someone, the mature, compassionate thing to do is to tell them what you are feeling and give them a chance to make things right. But he's not doing that. He's just being a jerk. This is not on you. He is basically calling you a bitch but hiding it behind a meme. Absolutely no way to treat a partner during an argument. Sit him down, ask him to behave like an adult during your arguments, and if he still doesn't, draw consequences. He's undermining you by associating your actions to the Karen stereotype. That's a cheap move to make you shut up and abandon your belief that make work. If he were intellectually honest, he would bring to the discussion his points of view and let you talk yours. I would be livid. I wouldn't accept this tactics from Misa. Confront him and make him realize that if he wants to disagree, he needs to have reasons as good as yours. Also tell him to start making arguments worth being discussed instead of using a meme stereotype with the person he is supposed to care about the most. Sounds like he's being a real Karen. He's just being rude and mean because he knows you don't like it. Also, there's a strange phenomenon lately with people calling anybody they don't like a Karen rather than actual Karens. Your boyfriend is either being, or is in fact, a twat-op. With this gambit, he doesn't have to formulate an argument or concern himself with the facts of the matter. He just throws Karen out there. Personally, and I very much get the impression that you feel the same, this would drive me to absolute distraction. I'm not quick to anger, but this would just push my button. If you really like him, you might want to give him a chance. Next time he calls you that, tell him, I don't like you calling me that. Never, ever call me that, Agaran. The very next time that he trots it out, tell him, I told you never to call me that again. Then, ghost, block, NC and move on. Don't check SM and don't look back. If you're not that struck on him, skip the warning phase and just move straight on to the split. Good luck. This is a common occurrence. When the mainstream catches wind of a meme or trend, they get excited and use it however they like while not caring about the actual meaning. I posted about something a while ago that was pretty much the opposite of being a Karen, and because a lot of people disagreed with it and didn't know how to choke out more than feeble insults, they resorted to Karen. All they know about the word is that it upsets people, just like boomer. Call his manager. What a stupid, immature thing to say in an argument with a sir. Does he call you a boomer too? I've got no advice, just think it's ridiculous. He went for the short shank, first thing he knew would piss you off. Surprised he didn't go for C-Unit. Don't put up with this shit. It's a derail, he thinks it's a power combo. Calling you Karen with his whole chest only to be boo-boo the fool. Embarrassing. Your boyfriend is dumb as fuck and it shows. Plus, he's sexist. Leave his ass. This is the same as the feminism thing. People start to warp the actual definition and use it as an adjective to describe anyone who doesn't agree with them. Back then women just wanting to be equal, but now people equate it to the feminists that reach very far and basically give the movement a bad name. He's most likely calling you a Karen just because you are a white woman and nothing more. Even though nothing else you do falls in line with what a Karen actually does. I wouldn't be surprised if this happened all over. This is a red flag and you should probably try to talk to him or it's time to pack the bags. Your boyfriend is immature and a Karen. Okay, hand medium dark skin tone. He's gotta stop. You're right, you are not a Karen. Talk to him seriously about it and how insulting, confusing you find his attacks. Your boyfriend is the real Karen in the relationship. Does he have airbags in his car? Does he wear a seatbelt? Does he wear a shirt and shoes in public? Does he look both ways before crossing the street? Does he avoid fucking around where signs say, danger, electrocution risk? Where do you see this relationship going? With his attitude, he'll argue about car seats when you have kids. He seems too immature for a serious relationship. Rather than putting so much energy into fixing his behavior, you should start looking at what you want for your life to be in the future. Fixing the behavior requires adult communication, and that went out the window with Karen. Good luck and I hope you obtain happiness. Your boyfriend is an ignoramus with a misogynistic streak. How does he treat servers and cashiers? How does he treat other women? Or is he just this way with you? Greater than the thing that frustrates me the most is that the generalized meme of Karens when it comes to wearing masks is that they don't wear masks. He sounds like a Kevin, to be honest. He is calling you Karen because it is a nicer term than what he wants to use, like BTCH or C and my. You might want to ask him why he thinks it is appropriate to name call you. That's okay. Just tell him every time y'all argue that, you're being a real Kyle right now, ya know, and see how he likes it.